Hello there YouTube, my name is Chuggy, and today I'm playing some Battlefield 3, bringing you a game of Conquest and 2 games of Rush. Today guys, this is question time part 10. Can you believe it? 10 episodes of this, amazing. Today guys, if you're not aware of this kind of little program or whatever, or video that I do, essentially I've asked for some of your questions and today I will answer them. I have, look here, 38 questions to answer today, and well, I will be answering them thusly or shortly. To ask a question yourself, all you need to do is put it down in the comments below and well, wait for the next question time to listen out for the answer, I guess. So one thing I will say briefly firstly though, before I get to questions, is an apology really, that I haven't been too active I guess on Twitter and on here answering questions. You know, normally for instance I'd go through and say, I've added this question for this question time video. Unfortunately dissertation work is just kicking me in the arse at the minute and I really need to hustle with that. So basically guys, my apologies that I haven't been as active as really I should be in the last few weeks, but in about 1 or 2 weeks time from the time you hear this, everything should be done and dusted and I can focus on the good stuff, or getting on with some good fun stuff. And boy oh boy guys, I am kidding you not, there's some pretty awesome stuff coming up in the near future. One thing I cannot talk about at the moment, but it's pretty epic, and well, at the request of many of you, a Sniper Elite 2 Let's Play, and keep an eye out actually on Friday for a prototype of me doing a Let's Play for Sniper Elite 2. Your feedback on that video would be much appreciated. Keep an eye out for that on Friday. Anyway, so let's get to answering some of your questions. So question 1 this week comes from Mr. Trophy Nuts, and they ask 2 questions as it so happens. Their first question is, what is my favourite Formula 1 car of all time, and what's my opinion of Bruno Senna? Now for those of you who aren't aware, Bruno Senna is a relatively new driver to the Formula 1, and he is the nephew of the late and great Ayrton Senna, who was widely believed by the drivers anyway, and I hold this view as well, that Ayrton Senna was the greatest racing driver ever to have lived. And unfortunately he died in an accident in 1994 and cut his career and life tragically short. Bruno for me is like a lot of other drivers. He is an exceptionally talented driver, but he hasn't had the opportunity to show off his potential yet. And when you think back to the fact he's been driving the shopping cart with a V8, otherwise known as the HRT, and the Lotus, which was good last year, you could see he was a good driver. The Lotus gave him the tools to work with to show his skills. I'm incredibly impressed, in short, with Bruno Senna. He has a lot of potential, and that's even more remarkable given the pressure which I can only imagine he's under, having to carry his family name as well. Because obviously everyone will make the comparison between him and his uncle, and it's a pretty tall order to try and be compared to what's believed to be the greatest racing driver of all time. So Bruno, I've got a lot of time for, a lot of respect for. He's got the shapings of a brilliant driver. I've been very impressed with what he's done so far, and well, as I'll come on to in the next question, a driver really is. All the drivers in the field, in the Formula 1 field, are very good. The problem is it's the cars these days which will make more of a differential between the great drivers of today and the legendary drivers, let's say. Now, my favourite Formula 1 car of all time is actually the Brawn GP01, I believe it's called. It's a car which raced in 2009, and like most Formula 1 cars, it had some form of technological advancement which made it quick. And what that allowed it to do was it allowed its drivers to show off their potential. And what happened, if you're not a follower of Formula 1, this rookie team, they were the Honda Formula 1 team, but Honda pulled out of the sport, so there was a team, a couple hundred employees, the drivers. They developed this car, with what they believed was an amazing bit of kit, this thing called a double diffuser. And, well, sure enough, it was saved at the 11th hour by Ross Brawn. He named the team Brawn GP, and in their rookie season they won the Drivers and Constructors World Championships, purely because they got, they stole a march on all the other teams with this concept of a double diffuser at the back of the car, creating a load of downforce. Drivers, to me, are only as good as the machines that they're put in. If you were to look at the performances of, say, Jenson Button before the Brawn GP car, you'd go, another meh driver. The thing is, Jenson Button is an amazing driver. The performances he put in back in his Williams and Renault days were you know, very, very impressive. Unfortunately, when he went to BAR, you know, he had some strong performances as BAR, but once Honda got involved, the performance dropped off a bit of the car, so he wasn't able to do as much. The Brawn showed what Jensen was capable of, and since he's moved to McLaren, obviously he's shown a lot more as well. Obviously, you know, for instance, winning Canada of 2011, in my eyes, the greatest Formula 1 race ever to have happened. It says a lot. A driver is only as good as the car they've got, and that Brawn car, it symbolises everything about Formula 1. You know, it's a new piece of technology, it shakes up the whole field, makes the field change the way they do things, and although road cars don't have particularly much downforce, you know, don't be surprised if, you know, if we ever got to like hover cars or some crap like that, you know, concepts of double diffusers and things which would ripple down from Formula 1 would appear. You know, that is Formula 1 in its purest and most wonderful sense, and it's why I love it as a sport, all part of it. So I hope that kind of answers the question. It's a bit waffly, but an interesting one for sure. Bruno, an amazing driver, and that Brawn car, an amazing car. So thank you, Mr. Trophy Nuts, for those questions. Next question this week comes from GT, the 07342. A bit of a mouthful there, or I'm just making it a lot harder to say. And they ask, what features from Battlefield 2 do I miss? Well, it's pretty short and succinct. It's the Commander mode. For those of you who don't know, Battlefield 2 had the ability for one player to be marked as the Commander. And what that would do is it would give them a few more abilities. It would allow them to call in, for instance, UAV sort of drones over areas, drop vehicles, ammo packages, that kind of stuff to support their team. And the idea was that by doing that, you'd be able to support your team and win. Now obviously that isn't present in Battlefield 3, and I do miss it because the aspect, or the kick I guess, really more than the aspect, it's the kick you get from proper team playing a game is, you know, it's second to none. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, when a team comes together, you have commanders issuing orders and teammates who follow them, and you start to win battles. Oh my word, it's such a rush. It's really fantastic. On the PS3 we had a game called MAG, up to 256 players, and when you were playing 128 via 128, and you were in charge of 32 people, and you're kicking ass, and you're communicating with the guys up top, and they're calling in rare strikes for you and stuff. Wow, it's amazing. I'm particularly looking forward to Dust 514 for similar reasons. So yeah, I miss Commander. I wish it would appear in Battlefield 3. I have a feeling, and I'll say this as a console player, thanks to the consolification of Battlefield 3, it won't happen, but still, I'd love to see it. And yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say than that. So thank you there, GT, the 07342, got it right that time, for the great question. Next question comes from Remy1004, and they ask a quick one, or a quick question I should say. Have you ever played Robot Unicorn Attack? No, I haven't. I've never heard of it. I'll give it a look, and I'll put an annotation on screen now somewhere of my opinions of said title. Hopefully it's nothing a little risque, let's say. So thank you, Remy, for the question. Next question comes from TCGX4XEver, and they ask, when do you get the 44 Magnum? Well, as someone actually answered in the comments, it's rank 33. There is a scope version, which you unlock later, I believe it's rank 44, and it's a great pistol, and as you'll see in the third gameplay in this video today, a rush game on Grand Bazaar, when used properly, it is devastating, I'll say that much. So it's a great handgun, rank 33, work for it. It's a great piss. No, it's a great piece of kit. Yeah, it's nice. No, yes, nice one there, Chuggy. Well done. Oh dear. Anyway, I'm so tired. Anyway, so thank you, TCGX4XEver. Level 33, great handgun. You'll see that in a little bit. Next question comes from Wriggles, and they ask, although it's popular to ban the USAS 12 from lobbies, what do I think about people banning all shotguns altogether from servers since we've had rented servers? Well, strictly speaking, that's actually against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. I forget where it is, but it's certainly somewhere. It's against the terms of use somewhere that you cannot ban the use of a particular weapon in Battlefield 3 servers. I don't know how well enforced that is, but there is a rule. Now, I can completely get why people want to ban particular weapons. You know, people get pissed off when they're killed by weapons which in a given situation are easier to use than one you have. For instance, if I fight a guy with an 870 MCS and I lose because the guy's using a fully automatic shotgun, I get pissed, and I think anyone would get pissed. And that's pissed in terms of angry, not pissed in terms of, hey mate, you shot me. Good lord, tangents. So yeah, I can completely get why people do it, and well, in short, it's against the rules. So yeah, I'm not really sure to say what I can get why, but I have to kind of, I guess, disagree since there is a rule against it. So kind of a non-answer really there, Wriggles, I'm afraid, but I can get why, but you shouldn't. Thank you for the question. Next question this week comes from the Broman90, and they ask, do I have any tips on how to win a gunfight at close range? Well, I have one. It's pretty powerful, and not many people use it. In fact, I think I might have mentioned this before, but basically, in a gunfight, particularly at close range, aim for the groin. They might kind of go, gay. But think about what happens when you fire a weapon. You get recoil. What does recoil do? It takes your aim upward. If you aim at the groin, where does that make your aim go to? The torso. Fire another shot, takes you to the head. Bang, 3 bullets, done. It's an interesting little, tactic to aim at the groin and let the recoil do the rest of the work for you. Doing that certainly has saved my skin literally several times in game, and it's a great tactic when you're fighting in close quarters. Obviously, if you can always go for that headshot, but you got to make those shots count while you get the opportunity. Aiming for the groin, it gives you a bit more flexibility, and as I've said, it's 1v gunfights. So there you go, the Broman90, a nice piece of advice, and very powerful too. I can't recommend it enough. Next question comes from Airfox Patton, and they ask another Formula 1 question first of all, and they ask, what's my opinions of the Red Bull Formula 1 team and Sebastian Vettel, the double World Championship, who won the Formula 1 World Championships in 2010 and 2011. Well, what I'll say about Red Bull first of all is I think they're a cracking team. When you remember that 6, 7, whenever it was, 8 years ago, that they were the Jaguar team, and before that the Stewart team, I believe. You couldn't believe that team has moved from where it was, which was midfield to back of midfield, to double world title constructors winners. It's a great transformation, and for me, a closer field with more teams in the the hunt for the win, it's always good. I mean, look at the season we've got going now in 2012. 4 different races, 4 different winners, 4 different cars. Yep, 4 different cars. Hold on, let me think about that. Jensen, did Lewis win? Might be wrong there. Certainly 4 different winners. There are a lot of cars in the mix which could all win races, and as a spectator sport, ups the spectacle, and I'm all for that. So I'm very happy with the Red Bull team. I think they're a great team, nice and competitive, and that's the way I like it. Now, the question about Sebastian is an interesting one. As I kind of said before, a driver's only really as good as his car, and obviously the Red Bull the previous 2 years has been a fantastic car, and has been very, very quick. Now, Sebastian is a very good driver as well, you have to admit it. He is a double world champion, and irrespective of if his car is better than others, he's still got to drive it the whatever it is, 70 odd laps, whatever, to get the car across the start finish line to win. What I will say though is I haven't seen enough of Sebastian to make a judgment on him as a driver. As a world champion, there's a kind of a saying, you can see that the truly great world champions, they set themselves apart in how they lose. And so far this year, Sebastian's only won the one race. I haven't seen him sort of go up or run up to, like, say, Alonso and go, oh, well done, mate, on winning that race. Whereas, say, on, for instance, the podium at Bahrain, where Sebastian won his race, you saw Jensen, was it Bahrain? No, it wasn't Bahrain. Jensen retired. It was China when Nico Rosberg won his first race. You saw Jensen. You go, oh, well done, Nico, mate. And same with Lewis Hamilton. As world champions, they obviously they'll probably be disappointed they didn't win the race, but they congratulated their competition, sportsmanlike. I haven't seen Seb do that, so that's one thing against him. But he's a bloody quick driver. You might call into question the fact that he hasn't had all that many overtakes, but the thing is, he's got 1 lap pace. He can do the qualifying laps. And, if you find yourself at the front of the field, all you got to do is keep driving. And, you can only drive in the situation you're in, I guess. I don't know. So, in short, Sebastian, an impressive driver for sure. His car has helped him, no doubt, and I'd like to see, say, how he would do in a let's say, I don't know, Mercedes car from last year, like top of the midfield. You know, if you could get it consistently into the podiums, I think we do have a case to call him for, you know, or call him a truly great world champion. Because obviously the Mercedes the last few years hasn't been particularly quick, but still, you know, he's got the car from the start to the finish. He's won 2 world titles. I think you've got to give him credit where credit's due. So, Sebastian, great driver. Interesting to see how he's going to handle this year where his car isn't the best, or at least not so far anyway. So thank you, Air Fox Patton, for those questions. Great questions. Next question, I hope I say this right, is from Vordays, and they ask, who is my favourite GTA character from any of the GTA games? Well, I'll answer this one quickly. It's Roman from GTA 4. Reason? Comedy value. Even though the GTA, you know, can be quite wacky and everything else, GTA 4, where Roman appeared, was quite serious, quite, you know, ooh, you know, look at this, I've been, you know, I was fighting in a war and friends betrayed me and everything else. Roman just added that little bit of comic relief, and it made, I don't know, the game, you know, it turned it into something a little different, a little more enjoyable. No, enjoyable's the wrong word, but it changed the pace a bit, and it made all the difference. He, you know, he'd always make me laugh. He'd always ring me to go bowling at the wrong times, and I just kind of go, "Oh, Roman, you." So yeah, I'd have to say Roman. So thank you, Vordays, for that question, and well, hopefully there'll be more characters like Roman in GTA 5. Next 2 questions come from Dr. BCDPS3, and they ask a few questions actually. Now I'll look at it. First of all, they ask, what is my favourite book and film? Well, the film's a fairly easy one to answer. It's The Shawshank Redemption. Now, it's quite a dark film, but not only is it a great story, but as a film, in terms of the way that it's actually put together, it's a great film. Something that which you just have to watch. Now, there's some very dark themes, as I've kind of said, as part of it, but as an experience, it's something that you just have to watch before you die. I think it's rated, you know, one of the top films ever in history. So, yeah, by far and away, Shawshank Redemption every day of the week. Favourite book? Well, there's a book which I read a few years back now, but it was called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time. Again, actually, now I come to think of it, quite a dark book about. I can't remember all the ins and outs, but involves the death of I think it's I believe a family pet, and the story of the kid finding out what happened, because I think the dog was just murdered, and he was just finding out what on earth was going on. I can't remember all the ins and outs, but again, a great book, very dark, but as a journey, it takes you on a great journey. So there you are. And actually, one thing to mention now, I realise what's going on in this game, is that Giga Goblin asked for some shotgun gameplay. Well, you've had some N1014, you're having some Dow 12, and well, there you go. Anyway, getting back to Dr. BCDPS3's question. So yeah, The Curious Incident, The Dog in the Nighttime as a book, Shawshank Redemption as a film, and well, the other question, or questions I should say, is, am I into PC strategy games? Yes, 2 of my favourites, Civ 5, I've only just picked that one up and I've been well and truly infected with the one more turn syndrome, and Medieval 2 Total War. I haven't bought any of the other medieval games, Total War games, but good Lord, those 2 games fulfill my strategy needs, like that. Great games, I can't recommend them enough. So yeah, that's that. And their final question is actually echoed by NayJames123 and the Henry ZX, and they ask, what do I think about the M26 Mass shotgun and the heavy barrel glitch? Well, as I kind of mentioned in Challenge Chuggy last time out, there's a glitch going on with the M26 Mass, and that if you mount it via the underslung attachment and have a heavy barrel, there's currently a glitch, and don't use this, guys, because you will get in trouble, where essentially the bullets, or the pellets I should say, which come out the shotgun do a crazy amount of damage. We're talking assault levels of damage. So with an assault rifle you have your 1 round that does between 25 and I think 17 damage. Your shotgun you have 12 pellets, right? With this glitch, what happens is each of those pellets do the assault rifle level damage. That isn't good, hence why it's ridiculously overpowered. As I've said, guys, don't use it. I'm not using it as a result. I will use the M26 Mass, but not with a heavy barrel. So the M26 Mass is a great shotgun, it's just unfortunate that it's involved in this glitch. And yeah, it's overpowered, needs to be fixed. DICE said they're going to fix it, so I guess that fix will be coming in close quarters. So a few months of pain, unfortunately. But, you know, we dealt with the USAS 12 fragged. We can sort this. Anyway, that's that. So thank you, Dr. BCDPS3 and NayJames123 and the Henry ZX for those questions. Next two questions come from Megadude599, and they ask, well, first of all, if there was a Desert Eagle in Battlefield 3, would I use it? Absolutely. It fulfills what I look for in terms of a pistol, in terms of high power. I'm not particularly concerned about massive magazine size, but I want the high power, and it will do that for me, so that's all good. And their final question is, if there were to be another sniper rifle added to Battlefield, or Battlefield 3, what would it be and why? Well, it's going to be a bit of a boring answer, I'm afraid, but it would be a variant of the L96. The Arctic Warfare, actually, is a version which was designed for, as you can probably tell, Arctic Warfare. But as a weapon, I think it's a different round. I don't think it's the Winchester. It does a bit more damage, and just in general, it's quite badass. I mean, the L96 has loads of variants. You've got the Magnum, the Super Magnum. Again, really, I guess what I'm looking for is British sniper rifles, and there aren't too many. And I'll say that much. So British weapons all the way. A new version of the L96 would be nice. I don't think it would happen. We've got the L96. So, I mean, you could stick your Barrett 50 cal in there, say. Well, who knows? That's probably going to be more of a armoured kill weapon, I guess, given the map size and everything. We'll see. Anyway, great questions, Megadude. Thank you very much for those. Next question this week comes from BU5H3, and they ask two questions as it actually happens. Another F1 one concerning the newer teams, which I'll get to in a minute, but what I'm going to answer first is my thoughts on where have the extended mags gone for the MG36 and the Type 95 light machine gun variant. Well, for those of you who don't know, basically before the big patch, let's call it, a few weeks back, there was the ability to have an extended mags attachment on the MG36 and the Type 95 light machine gun. No more though, you can't do that, and a lot of people have gone, oh why, that was a good attachment, and I would agree. Those light machine guns only had 50 or so rounds, they were more assault rifle-like, whereas you now see the RPK with 200 rounds, which shouldn't be, but never mind, I digress. Basically, I think it's a good attachment. I was surprised that they removed it, but mind you, they also removed an awful lot of other stuff as well. Take your flash suppressors and things from snipers and things. So, a pity it's gone. It's listed in Battlelog at 300 kills for each, although I haven't got 300 kills with either, so I couldn't vouch for that. But yeah, I'd like to see that come back. Now, for the Formula 1 teams thing, in all counts, I'm disappointed. But for different reasons. So the HRT... The HRT is a funny old story. So for those of you who don't really follow Formula 1, in 2009 there was a load of new rule changes. Was it 2009 or 2010? I think it was 2010. All these new teams appeared anyway. And there was... they were Lotus Racing, and they're now called Caterham. That's a story in itself. There was HRT, and there was Virgin, who are now called Marussia. Now, Caterham out of all of those have made the biggest strides to catch up with the rest of the Formula 1 field. Unfortunately, in my eyes, they need to do more. I expect them by the time, that, or by now anyway, for them to be a lot further along. They're still very much with the back of the field. I expect them to be close to the midfield. They've made good moves forward, certainly, but I expect more. In the time they've been in the Formula 1 game now, they're starting to be a more established team, not a new team. They need to pick up their game a bit. The HRT, don't get me started. Again, for those of you who don't know Formula 1, let me put it like this. Last year's car was designed to look like other Formula 1 cars. And ironically, they were quicker than Virgin, or Marussia as they are now, and they had an actual team to design their car. So, really, Virgin and Marussia now, and HRT, I kind of laugh at. HRT at the fact that they, for instance, last year designed their car to look like others, but still beat Virgin, who actually did design their car. I kind of go, well, what the deuce. Caterham, they've made they've made gains, which is good, but I expect more gains, in short. And, well, yeah, I will say that much. So, you know, they're doing well as new teams. You know, I've seen teams do, well, actually a lot better when you think of Brawn in their first year, but also a lot worse. So, slow and steady progress, I'd say. Certainly in terms of Caterham, I expect more progress, but give it time. I expect they'll catch up eventually. So thank you there, BU5H3, for those questions. The Dead Pixel asks, well, actually suggests something which I hadn't even thought of, but basically, if I were to earn money from my YouTube videos, why don't I use that money to pay off my student loan? Great idea, I hadn't even thought of it. The only issue, though, is that I'm not earning money from my YouTube videos, and to be honest, I'm not interested in earning money. I'm more interested in about making videos talking about games, or talking about games just in general. It's certainly a great idea, and certainly if and when I do get partnered, that's certainly a very good idea to use the money on. Thank you for the suggestion, I guess. But yeah, there's nothing more to say really than that. So thank you, the Dead Pixel, for that question. Next question comes from Halo Bunny 3.5. They ask too. They ask, am I familiar with a website called TV Tropes, since I use a lot of mannerisms that they use? And the short answer to that is, I wasn't aware. I have had a look, and yes, I would agree that I do use a lot of their mannerisms. Never aware of them before, but well, there you go. Can't really say much more than that. And the final question is, what do I think of the deathmatch or team deathmatch game modes added to Battlefield 3? Well, I like them. It allows new players to Battlefield, an opportunity to get used to the way that Battlefield plays. So that's nice. So, you don't have people who don't know what they're doing, say conquest matches or rush matches where their involvement is critical. And really, I think the game mode was added to appease the Call of Duty commentator crowd, yeah, us lot, and basically, your typical game of Conquest or Rush is longer than 20 minutes. 20 minutes is quite a long time for a YouTube video, so I think it was added to allow for shorter videos, let's say. Anyway, so yeah, I like them as game modes. Allows an opportunity for training and for, well, just a bit of variety. Nothing was removed to add those game modes, and variety is always good in my eyes, so I like them. So thank you there. Thank you, Halo Bunny 3.5 for those questions. NayJames123 asks a few more questions. I'll try and get through these as quickly as possible. They ask, first of all, do I agree that server admins on the renter servers have too much power in terms of kicking and banning and everything else? Yeah, they do, and basically, NayJames goes on to sort of say, surely if you were to kick, ban, or move a player, you should say why. 100% agree with you there. I have moved players around on teams to try and balance things up a bit, and the players have just left because they've been moved, and I kind of go, guys, I'm not just doing it to ruin your day or something stupid like that, I'm doing it to try and make the game better. But yeah, I think some sort of way of messaging in-game players that things are happening would be very good. We don't have that on console. At the moment I'm sending, and well, my admins on my server are sending PSN messages, which are not ideal, but it's a way of doing it. To try and get around that. But yeah, certainly messages should be supplied. There's nothing in Battlefield to allow that, unfortunately, so that's just the way it is. The next question is, should you be able to search just for EA-run servers for Battlefield so you can get the vanilla, let's say, experience? Yeah, that would be a nice thing to do. I think you can do it if you search for the right thing, but I can't recall off my top of the head what that is, so sorry, I can't really be of help there. And their final question is, what degree am I doing and what do I want to do as a job after university? Well, I'm doing a computer science degree. What I want to do after university is software engineering, and lucky old me, in this economic climate, I've sorted myself out with a job. All I need is the degree, but to get the degree I need to do the work, and hence, as I've kind of said, God blimey, my work's kicking me in the backside at the minute. The end is nearly in sight, I'll say that much. Anyway, thank you, NayJames, for those questions. You're all noobs. 8943 asks, why am I called Chuggy? Well, as I said in the last question time video, it's a combination of the fact that I like steam trains, my surname, and a couple of school nicknames. So that's that. Who knows who asks, do I ever play hardcore? And if not, why not? I do play hardcore from time to time. It's not a preferred game mode of mine in general though, because it tends to be a case of, I'm doing something and I get clipped by someone and it just knocks me out of the game completely. I think that core mode is a little more forgiving, and as a result you don't have to be completely awake. You don't have to be really sharp tip-top to play well. But yeah, Hardcore, I like it as a game mode. Again, you know, it's variety, it's not costing anything for it to be there. I do play it from time to time, but obviously you need to be really sharp to play hardcore well. And, you know, sometimes I'm not feeling particularly sharp when I play games, and as a result, you know, I want something a little easier to play. Thank you very much, core mode. So yeah, I think that's that. Thank you very much, who knows who, for those questions. 25 Freak Boy asks the next question, and they ask, what do I think of the new Rainbow Six game? Well, I'm looking forward to it, in short. Patriots is making all the right noises. I was a massive fan of Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, and it's been a long time since we had a Rainbow Six game, so I'm really looking forward to it. Expect gameplays from it, let me put it like that. So thank you for that question, 25 Freak Boy. Next question is a great question. It comes from Reaper's Bane, and it's kind of a response to a question I had last question time, sort of asking me what my favourite games are. And I said, well, there are a couple. I mentioned Fallout 3 and Red Dead Redemption. Reaper's Bane question is, if there was to be a sequel, which one would you want to see? Difficult question. The reason I like both games really is thanks to their story. I think it's a testament to games today that, as two games which are very heavily story based, that they can deliver such an experience that it made those games special. I think it puts games up in the realms of film, TV, theatre, level of story delivery, which I think is very impressive for a game, to be honest. Which one I want to say first? Really difficult, and I'm going to have to say Red Dead Redemption. Obviously, we've had somewhat of a sequel to Fallout 3 with New Vegas, and the story was decent, but it wasn't all that. It wasn't as good as 3, in my opinion, anyway. So I'll say that much. So thank you for the question, Reaper's Bane. Really tricky one. Zach I57 asks the next question, and they ask, do you think it's fair that when you shine a torch or a laser in a teammate's eyes, it blinds them? Absolutely I do. It's a light. There's no sort of magic goggles which can deflect light based on where it comes from. I think it's a nice touch. It's what it would do in real life. You just got to be careful with where you look, I guess, and where you point your lights and whatnot when you're playing. Something to be aware of, so thank you for the question, Zach. One Brought Down asks, have you ever thought about doing a pistol and knife only server? As I kind of said before, I kind of can't, but it's something which might happen in a Battle Night, who knows, we'll see. And Battle Nights will be coming shortly once I get a bit of time to organise them. Where am I here? This is quite a funny one. Sabertooth2393 asks, if you remove a pin from a grenade, is there any way of putting it back? He kind of needs a quick answer. See where he's going with that? Made me laugh, thank you Sabertooth for that. ARStone1 asks, since my channel has grown so rapidly, and again guys, it's still I'm still amazed to this day how quickly the channel's growing, and I thank you for that, sincerely. But his question is, since the channel is growing so quickly, am I sort of concerned that what this channel, stands for will change? Since the channel is growing. Basically guys, I'm going to try, I'll continue to produce videos in the same old way. If I grow slowly as a result, or quickly, that just happens as far as that I'm concerned there. My take on all this stuff is that, you're watching these videos because you have some form of interest, be it the gameplay or the fact I'm answering questions, and as long as I produce something that you want to watch, that's, fine. I get to produce what I want to make, you get to watch something that you want to watch. It's a win-win. That's the way I look at making these videos. Irrespective of how the channel grows, I'm going to try and stay on that path. Obviously that's going to become a little more difficult as things grow, but yeah, I'm going to try and stay to that line as long as I can, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. And hopefully you'll all get this experience, which so far you seem to be really enjoying, and I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that. So, great question, AR1 Stone. Really tricky. And damn, I've run out of time. I'll answer these next few questions in a freeze frame that aren't too many. So Dark Dragonu 1 asks, what's my favourite class in Battlefield 3? Well, it's the Recon, purely because it's so very, very versatile. I've said this before. You can play it with a shotgun, an SMG, and a sniper rifle. You can be just as effective. Other classes are good, don't get me wrong, but the Recon suits my playstyle. So that's that answered. Aero4LM asks, did I ever play Battlefield 2142? I didn't. I've sort of messed around with it at LAN parties and things like that, but I never really got any proper hands-on time. And, well, I think the next Battlefield game will be 2143, if DICE respects the, the way that the series is going anyway, in terms of how the games are being released. I'll say that much. So thank you for that question. Dadushi asks the next question, and what do I think, and what the question is, what do I think of what's been changed to the attack helicopters post-patch. Well, I like it. I'll be short. The helicopters are soft, they're vulnerable, and as a result, you've got to play them differently. And they still are just as good. You just need to, I don't know, be a little more alert, aware as you fly them of what's going on around you, and you'll be fine. Certainly, for instance, the jet cannon has been severely nerfed against other jets anyway. If you can take down a helicopter with a cannon in one run, I think you've earned that kill, to be fair. And if the helicopter's still there on your second run, it deserves to die. I'll say that much. So I'm for it. Dadushi asks, not Dadushi, sorry, that was who just asked the last question. Thank you again, Dadushi. 22 Brojna asks, breast, asses, or hip movement paired with a good figure. Why not everything, I say? Of course, let's not just be so shallow to judge someone on looks. It's more about personality when I look at these kind of things. But why not a little bit of everything? It's more about the personality, actually, when it comes down to my evaluation of things. But interesting one. Certainly, I think everyone has their own take on it, and isn't that nice? Who knows who asks another question. Do I have a religion, and if so, what is it? I think I put down in the census that I mark myself as a Protestant. Am I a strict Protestant? Do I go to church every week? No. I think I fall into, I think it's more agnostic, I think is the term. Yeah, I think that answers that. Captain Ginge1 asks, what's my favourite weapon and what's my favourite map? Favourite weapon, L96. Favourite map, tricky, probably CN Crossing. Again, long sight lines, close quarters, you know, a little bit of everything, which is nice. So thank you, Captain Ginge, for that. Christian 71331 asks, how old am I and what's my best gun in Battlefield 3? Battlelog says it's the L96, although I haven't used it in a few weeks since the patch, and I'm 21. I'll be going on 22 in a few weeks. Scary. So that's that. And the Lawn Killer asks, do you think Battlefield 3 could use some large maps like the ones in Battlefield 2 where there was 10 or so flags? Yes, and I expect to see them in Armoured Kill. And finally, here we go, the last question from the Henry ZX, and they ask, well, actually two questions. Am I excited for Borderlands 2? And their second question is, what perks do I tend to run with when I'm in a squad? Excited for Borderlands 2? Absolutely. I love the original, and yeah, probably expect some videos from that when that releases. And what perks do I tend to run with when I'm in a squad? Used to be ammo a lot, because I tended to eat a lot of ammunition, but now it's the anti-suppression cover. Or I think it's called cover mechanic, to get rid of that nasty suppression and how strong it is. That's that. Anyway, guys, that's all 38 questions. Sorry that this has been going on for like 37 minutes, but I'll shut up promptly now. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for your great questions. Again, if you want me to answer your question, please do leave it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like or a dislike, whatever you believe it deserves. If you want to see some more videos from me, you can always subscribe. And guys, the next challenge, Chuggy, is going to be a Magnum Menace. So well done, Switchblade941, for suggesting that. You've won that. Expect that next week. Anyway, guys, as always, I've been Chuggy. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time out on the battlefield.